From NBC News, this is a very special edition of Today, the 50th anniversary.
This is Today.
NBC begins a new program called Today, and if it doesn't sound too revolutionary, I really believe it begins a new kind of television.
It's a very special show, and I really think that people feel both privileged and honored to be associated with this program. I also think they feel an enormous amount of responsibility. And I think one of the reasons they feel so honored is because of the show's incredibly rich history.
There was this window on the world beginning at 7 o'clock in the morning with this most engaging man called David Garroway. And I have this fixed memory of coming down, racing off to school in the morning with my mother ironing something or fixing breakfast before she went to work, and the two of us would watch the Today Show. It was magic to me.
Jane Pauley, the newest addition to the Today family, has a chance now to say a few words of her own about...
I'd wake up more years than I would admit, put my feet on the floor, be conscious of the fact that I was now going to do the Today Show, and shudder in disbelief at... By the time I left home, I was fine and confident, but the Today Show was so large.
I remember as a viewer, not as a member of the team, when I would turn on the set at 7 and count down that last 60 seconds and I'd hear, "Good morning," I'd know everything was okay.
When Jane Pauley and I were doing it together, we had to form our family. She was a young, attractive, single woman from Chicago, had never been on the network before. I had been doing something else altogether differently. I was a hard news correspondent at the White House. So it took us a little while to find our rhythm as a family. But then it worked best when we did that.
I love what I'm doing, but to be part of an ensemble like that, especially when it's really clicking, is just unbeatable.
This is Today with Katie Couric and Matt Lauer.
That's your version.
I felt a little like a stepchild. I felt like, why do I deserve to be in this great family? I've grown to feel much more a part of the family, and it truly gets better as we share in each other's lives throughout the year.
I think the Today Show really is a constant in a constantly changing world, and it's just an opportunity for Americans who watch to get a glimpse of the world around them.
There is a late development in the attempted assassination of Egyptian President Anwar Sadat.
I was on the morning. We got word that Sadat had been shot at and then had been killed.
Several shots rang out.
I was on the morning that the Pope was almost killed. But then I was on for other joyous occasions.
We can see Anita Hill testifying.
I do.
And all of a sudden, we can talk about sexual harassment in a very real way.
Matthew was the type of person...
We can look at
if this had happened to
how
person,
gays in America are treated when we talk about the brutal murder of Matthew Shepard.
The events that have the most impact for me are the events that unfold while we're on the air. The earthquake, elements of the war in the Persian Gulf, of course, September 11th.
There's a lot of frivolity and levity on the show, and I think that those are major components of what makes the show a success.
The hours are the worst part of the job. I mean, everybody who's ever sat in this chair will tell you, you never get used to waking up at 4 in the morning.
The worst part is that every day, as I described it, you take your oral exams in front of the entire audience on whatever has happened in the last 24 hours in the news and the popular culture. On the other hand, look, I fixed a Christmas dinner with Julia Child and drank a half a bottle of wine with her. That was one of the great times of my life.
Leaving. It was. Leaving was the worst part.
You know, as we say goodbye, of course, some things do stand the test of time. National monuments like Mount Rushmore, qualities like kindness and compassion, insects like cockroaches, and performers like Cher, and people like you. With gratitude, respect, and affection, we salute you all.
And because change has always been one of the trademarks of Today, we know that we'll only occupy these jobs for a certain amount of time. So why don't we all raise a glass and toast the people who have the privilege of being a part of Today over these next 50 years. Cheers and thank you so much.
Cheers and cheers.